All right, welcome to another episode of the Cover 2 podcast. I am here with Ethan and I am Wyatt. We have come to the playoffs in the NFL. Got hockey on my mind. Lost a really bad bet last night, but whatever, it happens. NFL Wildcard weekend is here. We have quite the slate. There are 6 games, and we do have Saturday football, Sunday football, and Monday football. So an interesting time. Obviously we're getting less and less football games left. I'm not sure the exact math, but I think there's 9 or something games left of this season. So it's sad, but it's also, this is a time every team roots for, and this is what makes your season. And before we get into our preview, first I'll send it over to you. I noticed you're rocking a couple different fits here. You got a Browns jersey and a Lions hat. So do you care to explain for the viewers for this one?
Yeah, so believe it or not, I'm not just a fan of 2 shitty franchises. I got the retro Peyton Hillis jersey going. So I'm sure everyone's heard at this point. Peyton Hillis was in a pretty serious accident a week, 10 days ago, somewhere in there. His kids were struggling in the ocean. He saved them. His kids are completely healthy and fine, but he was in critical condition. He was on a ventilator. Um, was coughing up sand. His kidneys weren't functioning. Looked pretty dire there for a while. And just as of yesterday, he was taken off the ventilator. Seems to be improving. Still has a tough battle in front of him, but I think he'll make it out of this. So he was one of my favorite players. Won me a fantasy championship. Actually, my first ever fantasy championship was thanks to Peyton. So yeah, just I loved him when he was playing. Got his jersey and felt like it was just right to bring some attention to the heroics that he showed saving his kids.
Yeah, really scary situation. I'm not sure if many people, it was on Twitter a little bit, but it was right during like the Damar Hamlin situation. So I'm not saying, it got, you know, swept under the rug, but it wasn't super well reported on. But yeah, super scary situation. I'm sure I don't know the exact facts, but it sounds kind of like a riptide undertow situation here. But yeah, ocean scary times, and honestly, it's a superhero story here, saving his kids, risking his own life. So I'm glad he's improving. As you said, a long battle ahead of him, but that's good news for Peyton Ellis. And yeah, he was on the Madden cover. I don't remember the year, but that's kind of his claim to fame. He
Yep.
was relevant for a couple years in the NFL there, but yeah, um, thoughts and prayers to him and his family. And I was wondering why you were wearing we were talking last night and you had that same jersey on. So I was like, what's going on here? But then I'm
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
just
Nah, just root for the perennial losers. It's kind of my
yeah, I
thing.
was like, bold move, man. You could pick any other team, you
Right.
could, but yeah, completely understandable. And yeah, thoughts and prayers to him. But before I totally forgot, we have our challenge of the week. I am now lost 2 in a row. Our challenge last week was between the Jets and the Dolphins, one of the more boring games of the weekend. I believe Miami was on their 3rd string quarterback with Thompson, and the same thing with the Jets. They're on their 3rd string or 4th string, whatever you want to call it, with Joe Flacco. I believe the final score was there was that weird safety at the end, but I believe it was 11-6
Yep.
in favor of Miami. I had the Jets +1, I believe it was the opening line. It moved quite a bit. And you had Miami spread on that one. So obviously I lost. We're running out of ideas for challenges. I did go to the store today, see what I could find. I was looking for, I believe it's called Vegemite or whatever. Could not find it. So I will have to keep looking for that. But I did read, this one isn't as painful. It's more of just like a typical challenge. And it's the 6 saltine crackers in under a minute.
Oh yeah.
It's not super painful. Obviously, there's no spice, no gag factor in regards to crappy food. But I do have my saltines here, and we do have to compete or finish 6 crackers. So I got my crackers here. 6 crackers in a minute. I will get my stopwatch on. And yeah, I'm just gonna roll. If you want, I'm not gonna talk at all during this because I'm taking this very seriously.
Yep.
So you can, why don't you go ahead and actually, what are your thoughts on that game as I get rolling? The Dolphins did punch their playoff ticket with that game, so it was an important game for them. But yeah, I'll let you go and I'll start the challenge here.
Cool. Yeah. So Yeah, like you said, just disgusting game. I think it was 3-3. Majority of that game, maybe 6-6, and then yeah, 6-6. Um, Dolphins got a late field goal, and then the spread actually closed. I believe it was Dolphins -3.5. So pretty disgusting beat if you're on the Jets +3.5 with that late safety. Um, but yeah, happy it got there for the challenge. Kind of like the Dolphins. I don't know, they're fun, especially when Tua's playing. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, a lot of team speed there. So I was kind of happy to see him get into the playoffs, even though it's probably going to be very short lived. Hey, you're killing it, dude. You're right on pace. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for that game, but I think the Bills are probably gonna get the best of them. Here you go. 3, 2, 1.
Ah, fuck.
Dude, I'm impressed.
I got them all in my mouth. I'll keep going.
As far as competitive eating goes, that's I think all you need
Yeah,
to do.
110. Damn it.
Dude, I'm impressed.
I was flying through. The number 5 really got stuck in my throat there.
Did it?
Like, it doesn't seem that hard, but you just can't chew it. Like, your mouth gets so dry.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, obviously we need more challenges, but
Yeah.
I thought I was going to win that one. I didn't even eat lunch today because I thought like the hungry factor was going to help me. Um, but yeah, please give us challenges. I didn't want to do the cinnamon challenge because I felt like I would cough and get it all over my computer.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so we do need more challenges. And we'll figure out something. I actually have an interesting one this weekend, or actually tonight, but we'll get into that at the end of the show if you're
Okay.
down for it. It's
Oh
it's
yeah.
not in the NFL, so it's something different.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, good analysis on that Dolphins game. I am a little worried, well, very worried for them this weekend. We'll get into that game shortly, but no Tua once again, as you said. But they do, yeah, they have a lot of weapons, and it's just unfortunate how the quarterback battle has, or the quarterback injuries, has turned out for the Dolphins. Because at the beginning of the season, and then after Tua came back from his first concussion, they were looking like a legit team,
Yeah.
scary team, and unfortunately, it just didn't turn out. But yeah, all right. So we will move in. We just wanted to start off the show with our Detroit Lions year in review. As you can tell, Ethan, we say it every time on the show. He gets a new Lions memorabilia behind him. I feel like every single week. I think it's your top left corner. That will probably be covered next week.
Yeah.
With something new. But I'll start here. Lions, I knew they were going to do this. They came down to the end, kept us entertained like they do every year or most years, and then just fell short of the playoffs. But honestly, it wasn't really on them. It was, I guess, if you want to blame their first 7 weeks where they went 1-6. That's completely unacceptable. I know it takes some time, new roster, relatively new coaching staff to get accustomed to the season and the play calling and the team. But it shouldn't take 7 weeks to figure out how to turn the season around. After week 8, or it might have been week 9 if there's a bye in there, but then they finished the season going 8-2. So if they started, if they just started even 2-5, obviously they'd make the playoffs. And it is hindsight's 2020, but it was just a really bad start, and they did end the season on a great note. 8-2. They were their last game of the season against Green Bay on Sunday night last week. They had no playoff hopes because Seattle won at the noon game or the 4 o'clock game. Absolute heartbreaker, by the way. And then they had no playoff implications, so they just decided to beat the shit out of Green Bay because if Green Bay needed to win to get into the playoffs. So Lions kept Green Bay out, which I was really happy for. I love this is kind of the mentality that I thought Dan Campbell was going to bring to the Lions, and now they're kind of showing to be that team that no one really wants to mess with because they're going to go for it on 4th down. They're going to have trick plays. They don't care about losing games, honestly. They just, play balls to the wall. And I love that about them. And I think it's really good momentum for next year. Before I give it off to you, I will say we need to stay realistic a little bit. Thinking, obviously we had the best record in the NFC North. Unfortunately, for playoffs, and the winner of that conference isn't really about your individual record. It's more opposed to the whole season record. So it didn't really do much for us. But to stay realistic, I think we're going to improve once again next year. I think we could be like that wild card spot, hopefully. But I don't think we're going to make a drastic jump to be like a Bills or a Bengals or a Cowboys and Eagles. Like I don't think we're gonna be quite there in a year. Now looking down the road, definitely depends how this draft goes. But looking down the road, we could find ourselves, being perennial NFC North champions. I just don't think that's going to come next year. So I think we have to stay a little realistic just to keep us from heartache and heartbreak. But I love what I'm seeing in Detroit. I was very skeptical of Dan Campbell. Right when we started this podcast, I switched to the Bills because Lions were literally 1-6, and as I switched, they went 8-2. But I'm really like what I'm seeing with them, and hopefully they can continue and have a really good draft and improve for the next season.
Yeah, stick with the Bills next year. Maybe we'll go 8-2 to start the year, and I don't know, 14-3 to end it, and make the first overall seed. But no, I mean, I don't have much to add. You mentioned it. 1-6 start, turned it completely around. 8-2, finished the season 9-8, winning record, best record in the NFC North. Which I don't have it in front of me, but I couldn't tell you the last time we went 5-1 in the NFC North. I don't think it's been in my viewing lifetime, which is 21, 22 years probably. So just really happy. I'm impressed with Dan Campbell. I'm impressed with Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, and I'm actually impressed with Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator, as well. I have some buddies who are kind of calling for his head, but to me, having one of the worst defenses maybe in NFL history in the first half of the season, and then flipping it around to holding your opponents under 20 points, and really, I mean, they ended up having a pretty decent defense by the end of the year. To me, that's great coaching. I would love for him to stick around. Ben Johnson, I think, is our number one priority this offseason. He has an interview behind him with the Texans. He has a couple in front of him with the Colts and Panthers, maybe. So I would love to see him stick around. My kind of thought is I just want as much of this team to stay. I want Jamal Williams re-signed. John Kaminsky, defensive end, has already said he wants to be a Lion again. A couple others that I would really like to see return, but I think we have a good core. I agree with you. We're not going to jump right into a Super Bowl contender next year. I think we should expect to probably make a wild card spot, maybe win the division. I mean, if Rodgers leaves, Minnesota, we've talked about all year, not the most legit team out there. Chicago's in a rebuild, so we have a chance, but maybe a playoff win. I mean, I'd be so happy with just one playoff win. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the draft goes. But really happy with the coaching this year, really happy with the players. They played for each other. Just looked like a really good, fun team at the end, and definitely not the same old Lions. Like you said, we didn't make the playoffs, but not necessarily on our end towards the end of the year. And then we still came out and punched Green Bay right in the mouth. So I was happy how the year ended. Can't wait for next year.
Yeah, I have a quick question regarding the draft because I know we have quite a bit of draft picks in the early rounds. We have 2 first rounders, so we'll just talk the first round. What do you want out of those 2 draft picks? Like, where obviously my head's defense because I think our offense is very, very deep in most positions. I think Goff played well enough this year to not just jump for a quarterback, but it is a pretty quarterback heavy first round or quarterbacks opportunities. But what do you want to see with us in our first 2 picks in the first round?
Yeah, so I love Goff. I've been saying it most of the year. I don't think he's the problem at all. I think I don't remember, 7 games, I want to say, 12 touchdowns, 0 picks, 109 passer rating, I think. One of the best quarterbacks in the NFC, maybe behind Jalen Hurts, who didn't even play all those games. So I love Goff. I was actually strangely a little bit happy to see the Rams win a couple of games to take us out of that temptation to go get Stroud and Bryce Young, because I did not want either one of those guys at all. I don't want a quarterback. I also like defense. for the first time, I don't see a huge glaring need defensively or offensively, really anywhere on the roster. Um, I think I would go with those first picks. I would like another pass rusher just to keep strengthening up um, the D line, and then a DB of some sort. So Keely Ringo would be a DB I'd look for. I'm seeing Joey Porter Jr. From Penn State could be a good fit. Um, Obviously, I would love Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, but I don't see any way they fall to 8. Um, I've seen Brees, Brian Brees, I believe is his name, linked to Detroit. So yeah, defense all the way for me. Pass rush. I think the needs to fill are always in the trenches. I'll never be upset about a defensive or offensive lineman. I think we need a big guy to stuff the run up the middle, some speed at linebacker, a guy that can cover the tight end, cover the slot, and then some reinforcements at DB.
Yeah, I'm in the same exact boat. We might have one of those, decent interior D linemen drop to us in that for our first pick. But yeah, I completely agree. I think offensively in the skill position we're set. We have, not that one great wide receiver. I mean, Amon-Ra is pretty good, but behind him we have 3 or 4 guys that can all play. They'd
Mm-hmm.
probably be wide receiver 2 or 3s on any team in the NFL. So that we're fine. Running back wise, Jamal Williams came out of nowhere. He's fine if he stays. DeAndre Swift is obviously a little disappointing, but he's still, the most athletic back we have. And then defensively, yeah, I think, same exact thing. I think interior D line or corner or safety. It is a pretty loaded corner draft in
Mm-hmm.
that first round. Safeties are a little harder to come by. But there are a lot of corners that we could get that I do think will help us a lot. But yeah, so that's we'll get into draft as we get closer to it. But we love talking Lions. Great finish. Obviously, we're not playing this weekend, but great finish for the boys. Was really pleased with how they finished, with how they competed. And a lot of promise in Detroit, which is usually we don't say that a whole lot. So
Yep.
yeah. All right, moving on. We do have, again, as we said, 6 wild card games this weekend. We have 2 on Saturday, so we will start with our Saturday preview. We have the first game of the day is the Seattle Seahawks versus the San Francisco 49ers. This line is at 9.5 in favor of San Fran. Over under is set at 42. Before I get into this one, there's a couple games this weekend with really high spreads that I don't really even know how to bet because I have a hard feeling I have a bad feeling that San Francisco is going to win, but not going to cover. And that's my same feeling for every, point spread that's over a touchdown this weekend. So I know you guys are pretty high on San Fran spread. I saw it on your guys' show. So I'm not going to steal your thunder there, but I'd really like the over under on this game. It's at 42. I want to lock that in, the over of 42 in this game. The reason being San Francisco has scored 35 plus by themselves in 4 of their last 5 games. So that's basically saying, Seattle can score a touchdown and then on average, if what San Fran's done the last 5 games, there's your over under. And, I think Seattle will make it competitive. I think they could put up 14 to 17 points. Do I think the 49ers will put up 35? Probably not, but they have the ability to. And even, if Seattle puts up 17, all you need out of San Fran then would be 25 or, obviously 26 for the over. So I like the over in this game. I do like San Francisco money line, and I don't know if I'm going to make it there with the -9.5.
Yeah, so as you alluded to, I do like San Fran minus the 9.5 quite a bit. Already bet it. I am a little worried. I didn't look, but I'd have to imagine the public loves San Francisco, so it's a little concerning that the line hasn't moved. Maybe I'll get it pulled up here in just a minute, but I like San Francisco. I would lean towards the over with you, although that line has come down from 42.5, so only a half point, but maybe someone seeing something a little bit differently than us. Um, this is a divisional game, so they've already played twice this year. San Francisco is 2-0. They won at home 27-7. And then that was back in week 2. Things are way different. They still had, I believe they had Trey Lance at that point.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even Garoppolo or Purdy. Um, and then week 15, 21-13 in Seattle. But these are two teams going in opposite directions. San Fran's 10-0 in their last 10, haven't lost since October. Seattle 3-5 in their last 8, started out really hot and kind of cooled off from there. San Francisco is 8-1 at home. Seattle's 4-4 on the road. So tough to go against San Francisco to win the game outright for sure. I don't think many people are calling for Seattle to win this one. And then lastly, yards per play, last 3 games, San Fran first in the league. Seattle's 19th. Yards per play against, this is actually pretty shocking. San Fran's actually 26th in the league last 3. Seattle's 10th. But San Fran kind of had their spot locked in for the last 2 weeks at least. So I think playoffs, their defense is going to come back to where we know they can be. Best defense in the league. I think they're going to shut Seattle down. And then my last stat to back up San Francisco, I heard a stat since 2010, teams in the wild card weekend who are favored by 9 or more points, 12-0 straight up, 12-0 against the spread. So I'm going to keep riding that. I like San Francisco to get it done. I could see like a 31-13 type game. Probably not very close.
Okay. Yeah, I really like that. We'll see what happens. I have, what do I have? 27 hours to decide. But I love San Fran money line. I'll talk about that in a little bit. I have cooked up a play, but yeah, I'll probably end up getting there on the spread as well. And I am probably going to lock in the over in this game. It's just too little points for San Fran that scores quite a bit, and then obviously Seattle at the beginning of the year had no problem scoring. So I think both teams will put up some points, and I do think San Fran pulls it out, hopefully by the spread.
One last thing, I was looking at that for that game. If you don't love the spread as much, another way you could look at this is Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown parlayed with the money line. I think it was -105.
Okay.
So, I mean, McCaffrey probably scores. I think he scored in all but the first game that he was a 49er. So he probably gets there.
Yeah, I really like that actually. I have that circled down now. Yeah, that's a pretty good prop there. Because if they do score quite a bit, Colin or Christian probably going to score in one of those. So that's a good bet. The late game on Saturday is one of the more exciting ones of the weekend. As I said, we do have a couple games that are over a touchdown spread, but this is one that's within a field goal. We have the Chargers at the Jaguars. Chargers are a 2.5-point favorite on the road. Over under is set at 47.5. What are your thoughts on this game? I'll let you start off. I do think this is a trap game before I get going. I do think this is a trap. I hate the line actually, but what do you like on this game, or what do you hate?
Yeah, so I'm really curious to see what you have to say. I'm bouncing around. One day or one moment I like Los Angeles, the next moment I like Jacksonville. I cannot decide. I don't think I can see any way to get to the window on a side in this game. Right now, I think I do lean towards the Chargers -2.5. These guys played back in week 3. Jacksonville won 38-10, but again, way different circumstances going on. Herbert had those fractured ribs at the time. I don't believe Keenan Allen or Mike Williams were playing in that game. A boatload of injuries. And then last 5, both teams are pretty hot. The Chargers are 4-1 with their only loss being Denver last weekend, which they played their starters, but they didn't really care. And then Jacksonville's 5-0, their last 5. Jacksonville 5-3 at home, Chargers 5-4 on the road. So pretty similar there as well. It is a far travel for the Chargers going all the way to Jacksonville. And Jacksonville has kind of become a tougher home field to play at. I think Jacksonville has kind of become like the poor man's Lions. Everyone's kind of buying into them right now. Kind of America's sweetheart. So I think the public is loving Jacksonville. I think sharps are coming in on the Chargers and moving that line, which would be my reasoning to back the sharps and go with Los Angeles. I'd probably lay the money line if anything here. Just don't trust the 2.5. The Chargers yards per play last 3 are 11th, Jacksonville 16th. Yards per play against our last 3, Chargers 23rd. Jacksonville is actually first in the league, but they played the New York Jets, the Houston Texans, and the Tennessee Titans. So not the cream of the crop offenses right there. Really, I'm basing this on the sharp money, what I think is sharp money coming in on the Chargers. I think the Chargers have the more talented roster. They are getting Rashawn Slater back. Mike Williams should play. I think he's a game time decision, but if he can play, he will. And then I think Joey Bosa is playing as well because he got nicked up last game as well. I trust Herbert more than I trust Trevor Lawrence at this stage in their careers. And yeah, I just think I like the over in this game as well. I think both teams can put up points, but if you're trading points, I'm going to take the Chargers offense over Jacksonville.
Yeah, so I'm gonna contradict myself later in the show, but I've already blogged about it. I haven't put any money on it, but all my stuff that I put out online is on the Chargers in this game. The spread, -2, -2.5, whatever you get it at. I think it is a trap. I think Jacksonville should be like a 3 point, 3.5 point dog. The fact that they're only a 2 point dog or 2.5 point dog, meaning that a field goal, if they're within a field goal, they don't cover. I think that's a trap because I obviously something's going on here. The Chargers are just the better team. I understand they lost in their one matchup, but again, they didn't have Keenan Allen, they didn't have Mike Williams. Herbert was half a Herbert. So the Chargers are just the better team here, and I really think the spread should be in that 3.5 point window where you're debating the Chargers going to beat them by more than a field goal. It shouldn't be, I just think Chargers to win on a field goal is too obvious. But here's what I think I'm gonna go with the Chargers. But here's what I think is gonna happen. I think Jacksonville's gonna go up really, really early, and then maybe like 14-3 or something like that. And then I'm gonna jump on the live Chargers spread in that situation. So I think Jacksonville's again going to get out to a hot start. I'll probably take a live line on the Chargers, and that's going to be my only play for that game. I'm not going to put anything pregame just because I think it's a little too fishy in my opinion. But yeah, I could agree with you on the high scoring. I'm probably not going to touch the over under. I've taken a lot of Chargers overs throughout the weeks. And we talked about a little bit. They like scoring right in between that 17 and 20 points a game. Which is frustrating with how much talent they have. But they definitely have the ability to throw up 30. They just haven't done it a whole lot this year. So I would lean the over. I'm not going to put money on it. And then my play is going to take a live Chargers line. Hopefully Jacksonville can go up in this game. And I can get that spread at something plus money for the Chargers.
I like that angle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird game in my opinion. It's going to be exciting, Saturday night game. I'm looking forward to watching it because more than likely that 4 o'clock game is going to be pretty crappy. So hopefully that's Saturday night game can be exciting. And then obviously if the Chargers just go up big, I'm not going to touch the game. But yeah, hoping Jacksonville scores an early touchdown or two. So hopefully get Chargers plus money in that. But
yeah, and just to touch on that angle too, just for everyone listening, I mean that is a great way to approach betting, to anticipate how the start of the game is going to go, and if you think you can get a better number, you might want to wait. So just as an example, Seattle plus a 9.5. If you like Seattle at 9.5, likely San Fran's probably going to score first. So you might just want to wait. That might get up to 13.5, 14.5. You'll be down 7-0, but you're getting a better number at the end of the day. So if you do like Seattle, that's definitely, or teams like Seattle, who are big underdogs, or if you just have a read of where you think the game's going to start, it's a great way to go about wagering.
yeah, I have a buddy that really does this a lot, doing live lines, and it does piss me off quite a bit because he'll do it in the first quarter, without a couple minutes into the game, and I'll have like a -3, and he has like a +4, and then
Right.
we're coming down to the wire, and his bet's not even a sweat, and I'm hoping for a last second field goal, and obviously there's situations it doesn't always work, obviously, but it is nice if you can pick a game or two that you do like. And then just anticipate it. It's a decent strategy. Obviously, there's no great strategy in sports betting, but
Right.
so that's what I'm going to try this weekend on that Saturday night game. And then Sunday, we have 3 games on Sunday. We have, I believe, a 1, a 4, and an 8. Also sad, SOS, sorry, Red Zone is done for the year. We went off with a bang, but yeah, love Red Zone, love the commercial free. But yeah, we're just 1 game per time slot. So yeah, it's getting a little, as you know, as we move on, there's going to be less and less games, but hopefully the excitement level keeps building as the matchups get better and better. But Sunday, our first game on Sunday is Miami at Buffalo. Buffalo is a 13.5 point favorite. Over under is at 43.5. Tua is not playing. I believe Bridgewater starting. I'm not sure if he's figured out I think he has a finger problem. But from what I've heard, Bridgewater, I believe, is starting. If Thompson's starting, then I'm not even going to turn it on. But Bills obviously look really good. We'll get into it at the very end of the show. They are one of my favorites to win the Super Bowl. I love Josh Allen is one of my favorite players. I think they're playing with a lot of emotion right now. Obviously, it does look like DeMar was discharged, I believe, from the hospital. So obviously I don't think he's going to play the rest of this year, but scary situation. And I think the Bills have a lot of emotion, a lot of, want to win. We saw it last week. They had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. What are the odds of that happening? So I like the Bills in this game. Obviously, the 13.5 is very, very scary. It's a big line for a divisional matchup in the wild card playoffs, regardless of what string quarterback Miami's on. But this is going to be also one of my money lines here. So I like the San Fran money line. I'm also, I don't see a world that Buffalo loses this game at all. So
Nope.
Buffalo money line, I believe it's minus 800. Pretty gross, but you better add some legs to that to make it worthwhile. I'll probably end up taking their spread as well. I think it's an ugly spread, but the fact that it's 13.5 right now, so 2 touchdowns wins you. I think that's, it's tempting to bet. I do think it's a little square, but it is something I most likely will put money on. I'm not going to touch the over under in this game because I don't even know if Miami is going to put up a touchdown. So I'm not going to touch the over under in this game, but I have Buffalo money line, and then I more than likely will take Buffalo spread.
Alrighty, yeah, I just looked it up. So it is Skylar Thompson starting
Oh God.
as of 31 minutes ago. So yeah, I'm happy about that because I handicapped this game with that in mind. I love Buffalo. This goes back to that stat I said, 12-12 against the spread, or 12-0 against the spread last 12 of 9 point favorites or higher in wildcard weekend. Last year Buffalo had the same scenario. They played at home, divisional opponent, wild card weekend, 47-17, complete blowout. I like that again. I see a high scoring, just Buffalo onslaught. DeMar Hamlin might be in the building. I've not heard that for sure, but I've just heard kind of rumors swirling. And they're going to play if their guy is right there in the stadium. So Miami, a horrible cold weather team. Skylar Thompson, his second start. I love playing against young quarterbacks making their second career start. Now he has to go up to Buffalo and do it in the playoffs. Not a good spot. So yeah, Buffalo minus the 13.5 all day long. I actually got lucky once I saw Tua was ruled out. Went shopping a little bit. Found a sports book still hanging a -9. So hammered that real quick. So I am on Buffalo -9. Feel really good about that. Yeah, again, another divisional matchup. Buffalo lost week 3 to Miami, but that was with healthy Tua. They beat Miami just a couple weeks ago, week 15, 32-29, but I believe Tua played that game as well. Buffalo 7-0 their last 7, Miami 1-5 in their last 6. So Miami just in a downward spiral right now. Most of those games are on the road. They're not a good road team, just 3-6 on the year. Buffalo 7-1 at home. And Buffalo yards per play last 3, they're second, Miami 9th. Yards per play against Buffalo 16th, Miami 2nd. But they also didn't go against great offenses there. So yeah, I like Buffalo and a complete beat down over Miami.
Yeah, I more than likely will get on that spread as well on that. But yeah, that -9 is looking really nice right now.
Yeah.
Wish I jumped on that. The
I
middle game. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yep. One last thing I'll touch on that game. Just as a fan and running it back from last year. Last year in that Patriots game, I did hit a Dawson Knox first touchdown score, like plus 1,500, I want to say. So I will be on that again just to see if he can do it for me twice in a row. And if you don't have the balls to go do that, I do like him anytime touchdown. I believe it's plus 210. He scored in 4 straight. So I see this as Buffalo putting up a ton of points, and he's kind of finding his rhythm with Josh Allen right now.
Yeah, I like that. All right, the middle game on Sunday is the game of frauds. We have the Giants at the Vikings. The Vikings are a 3-point favorite. Over under is the highest of the weekend at 48. I'll quickly just mention, why I call both these teams frauds. The Giants, I don't know how they've managed to get into the playoffs. They have no offense. If you watch a Giants game, their only offense is Saquon. They can't do anything else. Danny Dimes can barely throw the ball. I guess he has he's a little bit mobile. But it's their whole offense is on their run game and Saquon, who's a great running back. This is not supposed to make fun of Saquon, but it's making fun of the Giants have nothing else besides. I couldn't name besides Kenny Galladay because he came from the Lions and he sucked. I can't name one Giants wide receiver. So Giants have no offense. Luckily for Minnesota, Minnesota has no defense. I'm not quite sure the stat, but they got to be bottom, if not bottom 3 in the league in defensive stats and points allowed. They are a terrible defensive team. But luckily, as I said, Giants have no offense. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. I am going to take, I don't know if I'm going to put money on it, but on this podcast, I am going to take Minnesota -3 in this game. The reason for this, I could see that pushing. So maybe I'll do an exact win outcome by 3. But the reason for this, Minnesota is, what are they, 13-4. They are one of the best teams with games decided within one score. And obviously that's a lot of luck. Like they could easily be, I don't know what they could be, under 500 for sure if those one score games didn't turn out. But good teams find ways to win. And I'm not saying Minnesota is good, but I don't know if they have a lot of luck or if they are just, really good at last second play calling down the wire 2-minute drills. I don't know, but they find ways to win. And I think they're going to find a way to win this weekend against the Giants. I don't know if I'll take the -3, but this could also possibly be a money line parlay if you want to throw it in for extra odds boost. But I do like the Vikings -3. I'm probably not going to touch the over under just because I don't think the Giants will put up that many points. I could see like a 24-17 type of game here. And obviously that would not hit the over, but yeah, I think Minnesota's wins. I think Giants are the bigger frauds of the two. And I think Minnesota just finds a way at the end to win this. If either they're going to get blown out or they're going to win in a close one. That's been Minnesota all year. Yeah. They win those one-score games or they lose by 40. So I'm going to go with Minnesota, and I would lean the under in this game.
Yeah, this is another tough game for me, similar to the Chargers, Jacksonville. I've just been bouncing back and forth. Right now I'm leaning Minnesota -3 under 48. But earlier in the week I gave out the Giants. So yeah, I don't know where to go. Minnesota, these teams just played. Minnesota won 27-24 in week 16. And your spread's sitting right there at the Minnesota -3. So lines up right where that game was. The Giants 2-5-1 in their last 8, so going in the wrong direction. Minnesota, although they've had some close calls, they're actually 5-2 in their last 7, so they're still winning football games. Even though that Colts game was ugly, they still came back, got a win. So they're finding ways to pull it off late. Minnesota's 8-1 at home, which to me that's a huge play on. They're playing really well at home. New York's 4-4 on the road. Yards per play last 3. And yards per play against last 3. The Giants are actually the only playoff team who are in the top 10 for both of those. It's yards per play. The Giants are 7th. Minnesota's 6th. Against New York is 9th. Minnesota 24th. But like you said, they're not going to go up and down the field trading points with Minnesota. Their offense is not good enough. Their defense is okay, but like they're not fantastic by any means.
Right.
So I have no clue what to make of this game. I wanted to bet against both teams heading into the wild card. I've been wanting to for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and they, of course, match up against each other. So now it's who do I want to bet against more? I think I'm just going to ride the talent that Minnesota has. I think they're the much more talented team, definitely offensively, but I think defensively as well. They do kind of have some studs. They've been here before more recently. They have more experience on that team. In playoff situation, big game situations. So I'm going to ride the experience and the talent level of Minnesota. don't know if I could lay the 3. Maybe look for the money line if you can get it cheap enough. Um, and then yeah, I don't know if you could find this. I don't bet these types of bets, but maybe if you could find this game to land exactly on 3, do some
Yeah.
little prop bet. I don't know what the odds would be for that, or if they even offer it, but might be fun to throw a couple dollars down on just because I could see it being a game-winning field goal either way.
Yeah, I know they do like scoring windows. I'm not sure if you can get an exact win outcome, but I know like there's probably, Minnesota 1 through 4 and then or
Hmm.
probably it's probably 1 through 3 and then 4 through 6, something like that.
Right.
But yeah, we can look around, maybe try to find that exact win outcome, 3 points Minnesota, because I could totally see that happening. But yeah, again, I totally agree with you. I'm gonna lean the talent. I think the talent doesn't really lie. So I do think Minnesota, just talent wise, just blows the Giants out of the water. So I think that's a determining factor in this game, and I think that's why Minnesota probably wins. Again, super gross game. Just be careful betting that one. Then the
Hmm.
final game on Sunday is our final high scoring spread here. We have the Ravens at the Bengals playing back to back games. Ravens are -9, over under is 40, or sorry, Bengals are -9, over under is 40 and a half. So, and the first thing, I believe Lamar's out. He's listed as doubtful, which most likely means out. Before we started this podcast, it was -8. It's already moved up to -9. So I'm not sure if that news has been out yet. But if he's listed as out on ESPN or whatever app you look at, he's probably going to be out for the game. Also, really low over under. Over under has dropped the point as well. It was at 41 and a half. It's now moved to 40 and a half. So that also I think indicates the Ravens are gonna be low scoring probably without Lamar. So again, this is one of those ones. It's gross, but Cincinnati money line added to the parlay. I don't see the Bengals losing this at all. I literally don't see a world where Bengals get knocked off. So the only thing that scares me is a bit is I did mention they did play last week. Obviously Lamar wasn't playing. Bengals won with ease. It didn't really matter for either game or either team because of the Bengals already won the AFC North because of that postponement or canceled game. But it is hard to beat a team twice, especially back-to-back weeks. They now have to beat them 3 times, or this is their third time playing. But again, I don't see a world where Cincinnati loses. Will I get to them -9? Probably at kickoff, but right now I don't love it. Over under at 40 and a half, I want to smack that over, which is why I'm probably going to be hesitant and not take it because, Cincinnati, as we all know, has the best wide receiver core in the league. Joe Burrow is one of the best deep threats in the league. They could easily put up 40 points themselves. But the worry is, I don't even know, who was I talking about earlier? Miami. I'm
The
not sure if there
Dolphins.
will be a touchdown scored from the Ravens in this game. So that scares me about the over under, which is probably why I won't touch it. I may try to be sharp here and take the under, but as of right now, I'm not going to touch it. I already have Cincinnati money line down. And then at kickoff, I will probably get to that Cincinnati spread.
Yeah, so I will kind of differentiate with you here. I like Baltimore plus the points. Um, I believe Jackson is ruled out officially,
Okay.
or he said his knee is still unstable. And with a contract year coming up here, I don't think he's going to risk it. So I just looked. Huntley did throw again today. I think it's 2 days in a row he's been throwing. So I think Huntley might be the quarterback, which I like a lot as far as covering the spread goes. Um, yeah, I think it's going to hover 8.5 to maybe 10 if the public comes in and hammers Cincinnati. So you might want to wait on Baltimore if you like them. Maybe try to get up to 2 scores there at 10. But yeah, it scares me, like you said, that they just played last week. To me, that's kind of favors Baltimore a little bit. That game was an 11-point game. Baltimore actually beat Cincinnati week 5, 19-17. But Lamar was playing back then, so way different. But that was actually Cincinnati's only home loss of the year. So Baltimore's already beat them in Cincinnati this year. I just think it's too many points for a divisional game, an AFC North divisional game at that. Um, and then I guess I just like pain because I keep going against Cincinnati every week. They've won their last 8. I finally got them. I was actually on Baltimore right before kickoff last week. I got them at plus 11 and a half. game lands on 11. So I finally overcame my Bengals demons and got a win there. Will I get to the window again with Baltimore? I don't know. I really want to. It's tempting, especially with Tyler Huntley at quarterback. And then my last thing here, well, actually two more things. The yards per play last three. Cincy actually has not been good on either side of the ball. They're 29th yards per play last three, 19th yards per play against. Baltimore's 15th yards per play and 6th yards per play against. So they've been playing a little bit better as of late. And then it's hard to say because it is a playoff game, but Cincinnati made their run to the Super Bowl last year. They're probably a little bit overconfident. They just beat Baltimore. They probably think they can go in, do it again, this time at home, because last week was in Baltimore. And it's extremely likely they have Buffalo on deck. If Buffalo ends up winning and Cincy wins, obviously that's going to be a huge game with the whole DeMar Hamlin situation. They have some unfinished business as they were winning that game when it was canceled. So I don't know if they look ahead in a playoff game, but I could almost see it. So I like Baltimore with the points. I'm not going to call for the outright upset, but I could see this being kind of like when the Saints upset or the Seahawks upset the Saints on that Beast Quake run. Like it wouldn't shock me if we're waking up Monday like, oh, how did Cincinnati blow that game? So I'll take the
Hopefully not,
points.
but yeah, I understand your thought process on that game. So we'll keep that one in case or possibly for a challenge for this next week. I think this is going to be our last weekend of our 5-bet layout because then obviously it's going to get trickier. There's less games, so we'll try to figure out a different layout for the upcoming weekends. But I think there's enough games this week to do our 5-game layout, which we do a most confident bet, an over and under, an underdog, and then a favorite or a team that's expected to win. To recap, we both went 2-3 last week. That's now 2 weeks in a row that both of us were not profitable. My overall record has gone to 19-20. Ethan, you are at 16-24.
I actually went 3-2 last week.
Oh, did you? 3-2. 3-2 last week. My mistake. So that brings you to 17-23. But we have a couple weeks left to get back to even here. Oh yeah, that went under. Sorry. The Kansas City Raiders went under. That you had that under, so that did hit. 3-2. So Ethan was profitable. I was not. I got beat up quite a bit. Dallas losing did not help much, but we'll look to try to be profitable this weekend. And I will start with my most confident. It's similar to last week. It is a 3-teamer parlay. The odds, I will say this, the odds are not fantastic. But I think this could possibly be a max play in my book. So I'm taking the Bills, the Bengals, the 49ers, all money lined. It's minus 150. That's it's not juicy at all. It's kind of square, but I may make this, possibly a 10-unit play for this week. I just don't see a world where these 3 teams lose. Obviously it's very scary to have 3 teams and the odds are minus 150, but I've been trying to think of ways that they lose and I can't find it. So I think that's very solid. I probably won't do 10 units, maybe 5 units on it. But I do think that's a solid bet. And I've already posted it everywhere. And I have money on it already. So I'll probably add more, but that is my most confident.
I like that play. To me, that's Cincinnati money line minus 150. I cannot see a world where San Fran or Buffalo lose. And luckily for you, those games are going to be over and done with on Saturday. So if things start going awry in the Cincinnati game, you can always come back and hedge a little bit with Baltimore. But yeah, I think that probably gets there. I'm kind of wishful thinking on Baltimore because I have so much money on Buffalo futures that I would rather have Buffalo go play Baltimore. We'll see. My most confident, I'm going to go back to the first game we talked about. I'm going to go San Fran minus the 9.5. I think they, for the third time, get the best of Seattle this year, blow them out.
Yeah, I like that. I saw all the guys on Better and Green that is your squad ride over the weekend, correct?
That is, yep.
So, yeah, so 3 great minds are on that one. I will most likely get there on my bet. I haven't put it down yet, but yeah, a lot of people on San Fran. I do think, again, I don't see them losing. Hopefully they cover that. And yeah, so My over for the weekend is going to be in that same game. I'm going to go the over in San Fran, Seattle 42. I'm hoping Seattle makes it somewhat competitive and can put up, as I said, like 17 points. If they make it to 17 and San Fran, can put up 28, I think that can be easily done. And obviously the over would hit with ease in that situation.
Yep. I like that. I'm going to go to the highest total on the board. I'm going to take Chargers, Jaguars over 47.5. Just think it's kind of a back and forth offensive explosion. Don't know if I'll have any money in this game whatsoever. So if I'm just watching as a fan, that's what I'm hoping for as well. Might get involved with some anytime touchdowns. I always love my boy Austin Eckler to get in the end zone. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, never a bad bet. Travis Etienne. So yeah, hoping, and I think this could be just a back and forth offensive game.
Yeah, I like that. And I think the Chargers will probably win. Again, that's a trap in my opinion. I think Jacksonville might be the sharp play. I don't know. We'll figure that one out. But yeah, I could see that being higher scoring, especially with just the weapons and the Chargers, and then Jacksonville obviously can put up points as well. I'll let you go next with the under. I think we're on the same exact game here.
Yep. I assume we are Dallas, Tampa Bay.
Yep. So
Under.
both, that's fine. We haven't been on the same side in a while. So this one's too good to pass up and watch it just lose, get blown out of the water. But I again, kind of like that money line parlay, I have a hard time seeing this game go over.
Yep.
Obviously they have ability to score, but defensively, I think they're going to step up, and I think it's going to be a closer game. And yeah, I can't see it going over 45.5.
Until now, because our track record of being on the same play is not great. So
Yeah, I think we're 0
probably,
and 3
yeah,
on same one.
this is probably 34-31 final.
Yeah. All right. My underdog, again, there's not a whole lot of choices this weekend because a lot of the games are ugly. And I am going to contradict myself here, but I don't want to lose for my record picking Tampa Bay. Because I don't know. I don't know why, but I'm going to take Jacksonville money line. It's the trap line. I do think the Chargers are going to win. I'm all over the Chargers, but Jacksonville money line for my underdog is going to spare me in my record wise in case, I may lose money on it, but at least my Cover 2 podcast record will be okay. So I'm going to take Jacksonville money line as my underdog plus 120.
That's funny because I almost did the same thing, even though I gave out. That game is so tough. I have no clue what to make of it. I'm going to assume we're probably going to do the Baltimore-Cincinnati game for the challenge.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So for that reason, I'm not going to take Baltimore plus the points. Yeah, I'm scared, but I'll try Tampa Bay. It's the only one I can really give out here.
Yeah, again, this will be our last week at this format just because there's how many underdogs are actually appeasing this weekend. There's 3 games that are within, 3 points that, we can take from. So yeah, I mean, obviously I wanted to take Tampa, but I'm going to go with Jacksonville just for the record wise.
Yeah.
My favorite
Tampa's also plus 120.
Okay. My favorite for the weekend is going to be Buffalo minus 13.5. I think they come out. I don't care who's starting at quarterback for Miami. It's sounding like third stringer. I just think Buffalo's going to win this one pretty easily and not even going to be close. I don't think Miami's going to score a touchdown. So I like Buffalo minus 13.5.
I'm on the exact same thing.
Okay.
Buffalo minus 13.5. Yeah,
like
this was a tough one. Definitely pushing the limit on the 5 bets in 6 games.
Yeah. I was looking at this and I couldn't find enough games. And yeah, so this will be our last week of this layout. We'll think of something else. Maybe we'll just do 3 bets and we'll figure out the categories for those. But yeah, it is kind of coming down here to the wire. But so yeah, we're on the same page at 2 of these. So again, we've talked about if the record does what it does in the past, we are screwed. But hopefully we can we haven't had a 5-5 or 5-0 week yet. Actually, we had an 0-5. We have not had a 5-5.
Who did that?
We also haven't had a 4 win between me and you. So we're due to have more than a 60% win rate here. So a big weekend. So on to our challenge. Again, I can't stress this enough. We need ideas for our challenge. So please give us ideas. I'll be more persistent asking about it on Twitter. but we do need more ideas. But so challenge wise, you're thinking the Cincinnati Ravens game?
I'm thinking that was kind of the only one we kind of differed on.
Yeah. Okay.
Plus the +/-9, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, I do have a question regarding college basketball tonight.
Okay, yeah.
Michigan State, they're +6.5 against Wisconsin. I am assuming you're probably going to take that one. And I love Wisconsin -6.5. Obviously, it's not well. That won't be our challenge, but I just want to let you know that I love Wisconsin in this game because whoever made that line at Michigan State +6.5 has probably the hottest team in the Big Ten right now, besides Purdue. What are they doing? But I don't. So maybe someone's out, maybe something. But I think Wisconsin's going to win by and cover the spread in that game. I don't know why, but it's a fishy line. So
yeah, it's actually Illinois tonight.
oh shit, yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, Illinois.
Yep.
They beat Wisconsin. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know because Michigan State struggles to guard superstars, and I think Terrence Shannon is kind of becoming a superstar player. So, yeah, I'll think on it. This is probably a good time to say we are filming a new show tonight, called the Roundtable Rundown. So, we'll both be involved with that as well as two others. So yeah, check that out, and yeah, I'll get back to you tonight about that one.
Okay. And then, all right. So going back to our challenge, I am taking Cincy -9, and you're taking Baltimore +9.
Yep.
Okay. So that'll be our challenge. We'll figure out what to do in the upcoming weeks. And then again, our layout in regards to bets will change. And hopefully we can hit some bets this weekend. And yeah, keep following us on all of our social media. Because I already have unloaded on that money line parlay just because I can't see it losing. And I will probably regret this, but I may just put a buttload of money on it. But yeah, we're in exciting times in the playoffs. Really happy to have you here. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. And yeah, Ethan, anything else?
Yeah, just going back to the big five or the five bets. If we can get it done with Buffalo and the under, we have a decent shot of someone going 4-1 at least. So yeah, I'll really be pulling for those two. But I feel good about our picks. 3-2, I think looks pretty good for both of us at least.
We need 1-4 win or we need someone to go 5-0, but this is our last week to do it. So fingers crossed for 4-1. And yeah, hopefully we can hit some bets, win some money.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys for watching as always. God bless, good luck, and good scores.
Yep. Thanks guys so much. Appreciate it.